Hello. Hello everyone. Welcome to the third live stream. Thank you for watching again. Today I will be making 3 arrangements. A radial arrangement that's more open on a vase, could be for a centerpiece, an arrangement that's a hand-tied bouquet, using a frame to support it so that I can make it a little bit more open. I'm also going to make an arrangement using tubes. The first one, it's on one of those cocktail glass type of vases. It's pretty big, but I would imagine this to be a little bit bigger, maybe yay high, so that it won't be poking in your eyes when you're sitting at the dinner table.
Hello from Angela.
Hey Angela, good that you're here. Thank you for watching again.
And Angela loves the shirt.
Oh, thank you very much. I got this in Philadelphia when Angelica and I went there for the Philadelphia Flower Show on the invitation of Bill and Chris, wonderful friends who I've heard also have been watching this. So thank you very much, guys.
Hello from Reed.
Oh, hello, Reed. Nice to see you. Well, I'm not seeing you, but you're seeing me, but nice that you're here too. I'm just gonna start with this arrangement here. I'm using the Oasis biodegradable foam. Ends up being something like 80% biodegradable. We've talked about this previously. I'm supporting this by a plate. There's a plastic bowl underneath, and then there's tape that I've used to connect it so it's nice and secure. I can move this around without any struggles. And there is moss covering the plate, so eventually you won't see any of that ugliness.
Hello from Taiwan, and everybody loves your shirt.
Oh, hey Taiwan. Thank you also for watching again when all the students and teachers. It's great to have you over here again. I've been using the shears that I got from one of the students from Taiwan. I really love it. Hydraulic shears, and I've used it to cut these Cornus. This is a yellow type of Cornus, so it's dogwood, and I want to use this because it's nice, long and thin, and that will add to the openness of the design. I have all these flowers over here. I have yellow chrysanthemum. This whole piece is going to be monochrome, so one color. There is yellow chrysanthemum, irises that have a little bit of white inside. I'm cheating a little bit. Then I have some Antirrhinhum that you can see over here. They are a lot of pointy materials that I'm going to use. I would like to start with some of my more longer flowers and build inwards from there. I'm also going to use some of the moss to close some of the gaps.
Amy says the teachers and students are really looking forward to seeing today's demo.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy that you guys are enjoying it. You know, what can we do right now? This is what we can do. So I'm really happy that people are enjoying this too. And we really are glad to be able to do this. Yeah, so let's start with some irises. My longest material are these Cornus stems. And everything is coming out from one imaginary center point. Of course, not everything has to be literally directed to that point, but as long as it looks like it comes from there. And I have a couple of buckets down here, so I'm not throwing things completely on the ground. And again, I would normally make this arrangement on a bit taller vase, so that we're not poking people's eye out when they're having casual conversation during this spring type of wedding. So I'm gonna put these irises all around, and I'm sticking them nice and deep into the oasis so that they can drink as long as possible, because flowers obviously they need water. So
yes, we have a hello from Romania, and Amy is asking, this design, is it good for weddings? And that's great.
Actually, yeah. My idea was that this would be on a dinner table, so it could be any kind of party, but why not? Why not for a wedding, to have these nice explosions of flowers floating above the table? I think it would be cool. We have some simple movement. It's like something we would teach during the professional course, radial design, and this is a more open version. I wouldn't call this a Biedermeier at all, of course, because a Biedermeier is a very compact type of arrangement, and this is more of an open arrangement, more azure, compact materials on the inside, long materials on the outside. And I like to divide them more or less evenly across the arrangement. And I also have to keep in mind that these will open up nicely, I hope. I shouldn't be placing them too close together. They need some space to breathe as well. And today we actually have our intern Ammo. He's helping us out. He has helped me a little bit with the preparations as well. Right now he is backstage keeping social distance, and he's working on some strings, which you will see in a little while. Then let's see what we have. These are some branches from a tree growing out of a hedera that we have outside. It's just something that's growing wildly there, right? Yeah, we didn't plant it there, but it was growing out nicely, and I saw this color and I thought that would be really nice to have in this arrangement, because these are very young leaves, and I've tested it. Whenever you want to cut something randomly from your garden, always check before, does it last on water? Especially since instance, these are young leaves. You recognize young leaves by them being a little bit more yellowish. And I tested them, I put them in water yesterday, and they still are doing very well. So why not? I'm using them in this arrangement. Angelica.
Angela says that she is looking forward to coming back to attend the master's course.
Oh yeah, that would be so awesome.
And she also has a question. Are you using biodegradable Oasis?
Correct. Yes, I'm using the 80% biodegradable Oasis foam. Actually, we want to switch entirely on this material. We don't want to use the old stuff anymore. So as their product line grows, we will switch out more and more of this old stuff for the newer biodegradable foam. When I'm placing these leaves inside, I make sure that the leaves always have a top and a bottom. This is the top, that's where they catch the light. This is the bottom. So I place them in a way that they have the top side at the top. Makes sense, it looks more natural when you do it like that. I would recommend doing that in your designs. Look at the way flowers and materials grow and decide from there how to put them in your design. I'm always hiding behind the design now. The flowers and the materials, they tell you more or less how they want to be placed in that way. You have to look at them, see what they're doing, talk with them a little bit. Not that they talk much back, would be nice. Well, not really, we're cutting them. Sorry for that visual image. I keep a lot of the leaves on this Antirrhinhum. Although they will wilt a little bit faster, I do like to have some more of the greens inside. I want it to be open, so I don't want to add too much leaf material, so I keep more leaves on my flowers. And eventually, when we will start to have gaps, I will start to fill it up with moss. Actually, talking about the master course, I was talking with Gregor recently. He's doing well, it was nice to hear. He's keeping on working, I think it's always good. Keep on working in times like these. Whatever materials you have on hand, maybe you have a garden, just cut the materials from your garden and work. For some people it's difficult to find the inspiration to keep on working and the motivation. And it's okay, you don't have to do things, but it's good for your body and soul to keep on creating. You need an outlet, sometimes it's important. Angelica.
Angela says, as Gregor says, flowers, flowers, flowers. It must always be about the flowers.
For sure. Yeah, in this design, I chose not to have so much fancy things. It's more or less just the flowers. There will be one extra element. I hear my mother laughing, I don't know. There's something in the comments happening, I think.
Yeah, so Angela says, get your mom's Lazy Susan, easier to turn.
You're right. But I thought this is such a fragile piece of glass. I don't trust myself with the Lazy Susan underneath. I think balancing that on there, it's a little dangerous. Sorry.
Amy says not removing the leaves of the Antirrhinhum is for keeping the design more natural.
It's partially that, and partially because there's not much green going in. I'm not using pistachia or some filler greens, so that's why I keep some of the leaves on there. It fills it up a bit more while keeping it still open, if that makes sense. Then we have some sunflowers. Actually, yellow is Dunya's favorite color, so if Dunya is watching, this one's for you. And these again, I'm going to put in a little deeper. Yeah, we've had King's Day last week, and spending King's Day at home is such a weird thing for Dutch people, I think. There were some people outside, not too many, but yeah, we got some ice cream.
Yeah, you surprised me with ice cream.
Yeah, we had some ice cream and celebrated it in that way.
To be more specific, it was ice cream for breakfast.
Oh yeah, that's it. King's Day is one of those days that you should just enjoy and do whatever you want.
Question from Reed. How many centimeters is the tip high?
Ooh, good question. It's about 1 arm. That's, I don't know, what's that? We don't have a centimeter thing here. But I kept all the stems of the Cornus the same length, more or less. Some are just maybe a little bit, a couple of fingers smaller. I'm leveling, so I'm doing this in a certain height, then the irises are getting a little bit shorter, and then the Antirrhinhum, are getting a little bit shorter, and then the sunflowers. So that's my line of thinking. Thinner materials, long, more compact materials, short. But yeah, the balance also should be this is almost 2/3 until here, and then it's 1/3 until here. But the exact centimeters, I don't know. But it's all about balance anyway, so. Angelica.
Yes, question from Selina Tsang.
Oh, hey.
What's the direction of the sunflower's heads?
The direction is outward, and some of them I let go a little bit in another direction, but more or less the direction is outward from that center point. If you look here, it's pointing that direction. It's all pointing radial from that center point, like an explosion. Angelica.
Yes, question from Amy. Should we wire the sunflowers?
If you want to force them to have a certain movement, yes, you can. Do you have to? I don't think so. Whenever you have a material that is looking in a certain direction, try to use it in a way that you don't have to use too many techniques. The techniques will slow you down, but also if you use it in a more natural way that is already growing, it looks more realistic or more realistic, it is realistic, more natural. If you want, why not? You could wire the Gerberas even, but in this case I don't want to. I want it to be a little bit more natural. I want to save some time, so I keep them unwired. Also the Gerbera growers, they tell us in the past people would have to wire the Gerberas because the Gerberas, they weren't as strong, they didn't keep as well. But nowadays these growers, they work so hard to develop them in a way that they last for a long time. Their stems will be strong for a long time, so you don't necessarily have to wire them anymore as much as in the past. Another thing that I like about this brown biodegradable oasis is that it is brown. It looks better, I think, if sometimes it's a little bit visible. You can still show it a little bit. But we of course have moss as well, so we can hide it. But you can use it in your design if you want to. Especially with the yellow, I think it goes well, the brown color. So why not show it a little bit?
Question from Angela. What would you call the placement of the flowers? Sequential, random?
Sequential, I think, means that it's structural. So I think so. I would say it's more sequential. More or less the distance is even between the flowers as I place them. Because this design is a little bit more classical in its nature. Now classical isn't a negative thing at all. It's just a way of designing. And this is radial, so it's more or less classical. And then the spacing should be more or less even. Then I add some beautiful roses, spray roses, and I place those a little bit deeper inside the arrangement. And that brings some light to the inside, but also they cover a little bit more than the other materials. So that's nice too. And this is creating some depth in there. I really like these. No, can you see them well? Yeah. I have a very nice coloration. Angelica, you have a question?
Anna ZE says that teeny glass is huge.
Right. This is a celebratory glass that we should drink from when the coronavirus is over, I think. Angelica, you had a really nice, well, we didn't have alcohol in it, but you made rhubarb?
Yeah, I made the rhubarb with sugar and I put in too much water, so it was very watery. So I took out the excess water and it turned out into a very nice lemonade. If you put sparkling water with it and a little bit of alcohol, it turned into a very nice cocktail.
Yeah, so you will have to post a recipe of that too. Yeah. That will be the after Corona celebratory drink that we should have. So many flowers go in here, but still I want to keep it open texture-wise, so I shouldn't put too much in there.
Question from Reed. What about white lilies? To use it in weddings, is it okay or is it too large?
White lilies depends totally on the size of the arrangement, I think. But in this piece, yeah, we could use white lilies for sure. It could also be used in a bridal bouquet. Why not? For a wedding bridal dress, for a bridal bouquet, I would suggest to take off the spores, or how do you call them? The yellow stuff that's on the inside. But anyway, that's definitely something you would have to remove, because otherwise it comes all on the pretty dress, and that would be a pity. So try to avoid that. Then I still have one more flower to go in here, and that's the golden colored chrysanthemum. And I'll save these little leftover pieces for later, because I can use them in my next design. Or the last design, actually. Be careful not to break anything while going in there. And also I like these chrysanthemum, they're spray chrysanthemum. They're open texture-wise, and that adds to the whole open feeling of this arrangement, I think. So I've been editing these videos afterwards, and then I'm confronted with my English and my accent, so it's good practice for him. My mother's pointing at herself now and making a face, like she's also confronted with her English. But it's good. If you hear yourself, maybe we can do something about it. Angelica.
Yes, Angela says you've not gone above the cornice?
No, that's correct. I'm actually doing that on purpose because I want to layer. The thinnest material in here is the cornus. It's just little, it's almost not, well, it's visible. It's almost not visible, I was going to say, that makes no sense. But it's the thinnest thing in there. Then comes the iris, then comes the Antirrhinhum. So I'm looking at the shapes and the size of the materials, and then I depend which one is going to be longest, which one is going to be shortest in the arrangement. and I go from there. I'm trying to layer, so that's why I didn't do anything larger than the Cornus. And also, of course, this design I'll photograph and put on Facebook later. Everyone can see it from close by. We gave up on the second camera for this stream. I couldn't make it work. I tried using the Wi-Fi last time, and the Wi-Fi isn't good enough. Then I tried to find a solution with the USB cable, but that didn't work. So we'll figure it out at some point. A question or a remark?
Yes, from Angela. She says, it allows the eye to travel from one area of interest to another.
Yeah, I like that. That's very true. It should draw your eye towards the inside. And of course, this could be done with any other color. But I like this working in one color, like the monochrome, because it makes the arrangement more calm while still being chaotic. There's so much going on. It's layered, there's a lot there, but because it's just one color, it doesn't become too much for the eye, I think. Ooh. Poked my eye out almost there. I think this piece is more or less done. All right, so then, oh yeah, this was the thing that Amo was working on, our intern. Could you maybe bring those things that you have made? Thank you.
Reed says very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm gonna cut this in 3. Like this. And then I'll have a hook here. I have a 0.6 wire, and then I can hook these in there and have some material hanging downwards as well. So you have a shorter one there, thank you. I thought that would be nice. It's the same dogwood. It's like a string. We twisted those on there, and then I'm going to use a hook and I put them in.
Question from Amy. Do we need to have some extra cornice to use at the last touch?
You could, if you want. Good question. You can always add a little bit more, I think. And then hopefully this... No, I didn't make it long enough. Just twisting the wires around it to make it a bit longer. And then I'll stick this in on here. There we go. For now, I think this is good. Maybe later on I'll add some more here and there. So what you cannot see is that it's going quite long downwards. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Don't mess with the camera, Mike. What are you doing? I'm sorry, guys. There we go. This is more or less horizontal, right? Yep, perfect. That's arrangement number 1. The Radial explosion of yellow flowers. It's not really a great title, but it's something. Angelica.
Gea Kort says, beautiful creation, Mike.
Thank you very much. Thank you kindly. We will put this one away for now, and then we will take pictures of it, and then you can have a good look close up. And these are all flowers that we've ordered. Summer Flowers has, for example, Helianthus. All our floral fundamentals growers that we like to support all have these products that are in here. There is roses. I think Quali Rosa has these beautiful ones. And then there is Meyer roses. They also have beautiful roses. So I would definitely check those out. Antirrhinhum, those are also summer flowers. There's a lot more in there, which I will all tag. Holstein has these beautiful Gerberas. They have stunning Gerberas. Really, I've been at their place and I was amazed by how many types of Gerberas are out there. It's really amazing. There's some incredible ones. All right, there you go. Thank you very much, Amo. So we'll be washing our hands afterwards, of course. And then we changed the set a little bit. This was my drink, but it's now filled with moss. This one can go. The next thing we'll make is a bouquet. Angelica, you have a question. Oh yes, the peonies. Amo, could you arrange the peonies which are in the cooler? Thank you. I made this frame. It's just a technical assistance. It'll help me place the flowers and space them out a bit more. Normally when you have a bouquet and you want to have it open, you will need to have some stuff in between to push the branches out. And in this case, this is going to do the trick. For the people in Taiwan, this is the same technique that I used when making the handmade chicken wire. We're just twisting the wires in. Maybe that's something for another video. Or if you ever go and join a class, we teach this during the Handtied Bouquet level 2. Handgebonden boeketten niveau 2. Then we have a lot of nice products. I have Phanicum fontaine. It's a type of grass. Now I'm a little bit allergic to grass, so I will be scratchy a little bit, but it's worth it for the art. I have these little cute spray roses, the pink ones. In this design, the color scheme that I'm trying to go for is basically the whole color wheel. So I try to have some soft tones, mostly soft tones, and then I have some beautiful dark scabiosa. Margin-Par has these. It's a little bit difficult to see in the light, but they are beautiful, dark, almost burgundy, purplish kind of color. These are liatris. They work very well for lines in a linear arrangement or in a parallel design. Very good for that type of stuff, type of design, sorry. Ding. And then I have Anigo Santos. Also nice for open designs. I have limonium all the way over here. Beautiful light blue, almost hinting to purple. And these are the peonies that Ammo is bringing. These will be deeper in the design. And I kept them in the cooler because they were popping open very fast. We have Astilbe. I love Astilbe. Dark pink ones. Hypericum, the green ones. So we have a lot of colors. Delphinium, light blue, also beautiful. Summer Flowers has Delphinium. And then we have, I think you pronounce it Senecio. Depends, I think, which kind of Latin pronunciation you want to use. And they are a beautiful furry kind of leaf, and I really like them. They're beautiful white. That's it for this one. And then of course we have the frame. How do I like to start with this? I prefer to start with materials that are long and then work my way to the center. I'm using what we call the spiral tied technique, even though I have this handle in the middle. And I can already layer a little bit. I want to use the length as long as possible. I keep it quite short here. And then I use the maximum length of the material. Of course, when you're buying flowers, you are kind of paying for the length. If they are shorter, usually they are cheaper. Why waste all the beauty of the length by keeping everything short? And this is a type of design that really makes use of that.
Question from Amy. Could Mike explain why you choose these materials by the color or design-wise?
Both. I chose them for two reasons. One, for the color. I wanted to make a nice, colorful design. Two, I choose the materials for their characteristics. So in this case, Liatris is a nice and thin flower, so it can be used nice and long. If I want to create depth, and I want to have thicker materials in the middle, I can do that easily by having thin materials and thick compact materials.
Question from Reed. What is the diameter of the frame?
I would say about 25 centimeters. You can of course make it smaller if you want to make a smaller bouquet. You can make it bigger if you want to make a bigger bouquet. I like to use some of these to add a bit of support, so stems will be pushed against this. And also the lightness on the inside will create a nice depth too. Nice and long materials, blues. The same type of material. I try to have more or less the same length, so that gives some structure and logic to the arrangement. Otherwise, if everything is just randomly pushed in there, it becomes a mess. So that's my reasoning when I place these materials in. I'm layering them really. And of course, when you first do this, you have to get used to all these wires being in the way, but they are there to help you. So you can really make use of them. Still, I try to make the direction make sense, so they should be growing upwards more or less. And I try to divide the materials evenly, again to create structure and logic in the design. Should look a little bit field style-ish. Getting rid of some of the leaves so that it stays a bit more open.
Question from Angela. Did you tape the wire armature?
Correct. I taped the wires individually. This is a frame made by using 1.8 wire, so very thick, what we call Gregor wire in the school. I've bound them and then I've even taped the handle eventually so that it's more convenient to hold. I try to not turn my bouquet so much, but sometimes you have to show it from a different angle. And I'm working my way to the outside, adding stems as I go. Astilbes also have to go in there, and I'm kind of feeling where I can place them. So I'm carefully twisting and pushing them inside as not to break the stems.
Question from Angela. Are you placing them on the outside of the armature too?
Yeah, exactly. Eventually I would like to cover the armature as well. The armature is, in this case, purely decorative. I would like to hide it as much as possible. It's just there to make sure that all these stems of flowers are separated nicely, so eventually it should not be visible.
So not decorative?
No, it's not a decorative armature in this case.
Question from Amy. It looks like a very big bouquet. Do you think better to let the students start with a smaller bouquet just to try, or just try the bigger one?
That's a good question. It's always easier to start out with a smaller bouquet. Of course, if you haven't done this a lot yet, I would recommend to start out with a regular spiral tied bouquet first, so that you learn the technique of making an actual bouquet, what we teach in our level 1 courses. And then you can add things like an armature or decorative armatures even. Step 1 would be to learn the basics, and then afterwards you can learn more advanced techniques and ways to bind. There's of course more than one way to bind a bouquet. From the top of my head I know 3, like there's spiral tied, parallel tied, and then there is crisscross, which is something that's happening a lot lately and kind of a movement almost that's happening right now.
Question from Amo.
Yeah.
Is the tape also to make the flowers have more grip, so they don't slip away as easy on a bare wire?
Actually, it does help. You are right. It does help a lot. Sticky tape that we're using right now will help the flowers stay more in place. So placing some materials on the outside. Angelica, sorry.
Yes, Angela says, for those who can't make a hand-tied like me.
Well, you know, it's all practice, practice, practice. The more you make these things, the easier it gets. Hand-tied bouquets were definitely a thing I always struggled with in the beginning. It's not like Oasis or foam that you just stick stuff in and it stays. I like that too. But as I started practicing more, I got a little bit more control, and that really helped me motivate to make more bouquets and to practice it more. Also, working in a flower shop, of course, you're making bouquets so much. You have to make bouquets all day. So working in a flower shop helps you a lot. Our floral design field is very big. You don't have to work in a flower shop to be a florist, I think, but it will help. Angelica and I have been to our good friend Peter Boeken's a couple of months ago, like a shop that has business 24/7 almost, where people are standing in line to buy flowers. That type of shop really helps you get more control over making bouquets. Then some scabiosa, which are a bit fragile. I'm pushing them in, trying not to break them, but I can also see them, I hope, the stem coming out from down there, and then I can pull it down a little bit more. I'm actually not able to see it at all. Yes, it's over here. It took me a while. These are delicate flowers we should be careful with. Bum, bum, bum. I'm looking at the rhythm of the flower placement, and I think I need another delphinium here, so as to balance it out a little bit more. We can use some more liatris as well. Sometimes, well, 9 out of 10 times when you're working on a bouquet, things move around. So you have to rearrange them a little bit and make sure that they are in the position that you want them. It's okay, don't worry about it, especially in the beginning. When you notice that everything is moving around, not as you placed it, don't stress, that's normal. The more stems that go into the bouquet, the easier it will become. And also, again, it's practice. It's just making these bouquets, taking them apart, making them again. Make a bouquet, take them apart, make them again. It's an art form. If you are someone who wants to paint, you also understand that your first painting won't be Da Vinci, so don't worry too much about that. It comes in time.
Question from Reed. What is the cost of this bouquet in a flower shop?
This would be a pricey bouquet. I'm using a lot. This is really a demonstration bouquet. During demos, I like to spend a little bit more budget-wise. That being said, yeah, I think if I would put everything we have in here, we would probably sell it for 80 euros, 80 to 100, maybe 80. I think 80, but that is when I use everything I have here. Of course, our flower prices might be different. If you are in Estonia, it has to travel. Travel costs more. That all goes into thinking of how you should calculate it. But I would say, if you want to sell a bouquet, think about the cost to make it, think about the material cost, and do that times 3 or 2.5. It depends on your location. If you have a very expensive rent, your flower price must go up. If you work from home, your flower price can go down. Maybe you have an online shop, you can work from home.
Question from M. Decker. My hand seems to be too small for big bouquets. Are there any tools, aids for holding a thick bouquet?
That's also a good question. We receive this question quite often. It is true that it will get trickier the more flowers are in there. I can't say this is not becoming harder while I'm adding more flowers, but there's ways. First off, I'm holding it with only 3 fingers. Just 3 fingers are holding this. And I started out with only 2 fingers, and the wider it becomes, I change my finger. First, I do my thumb and pointing finger, later I will do my thumb and middle finger. Because this technique is so good, the spiral tied, I don't have to hold it completely shut. As you can see, there's some space and it balances it out.
Question from Amy. Senecio stem is strong enough at the outside position. Do they need some material to support them?
Not necessary. This is just all because of that spiral tied technique that's helping it out. And also another thing about supporting your flowers. So this frame helps, it makes it easier. But also these frames you can buy, for example, Holly Chapel has these, I don't know, they call it pillows, I think. Holly Chapel pillows, chapel eggs, I don't know. But they are for sale. We will start selling them too in our online shop. They are very useful. They can make your life a lot easier.
Angela has a question about your wrist.
Yeah.
Doesn't it hurt or don't you get cramps?
A little bit. It gets less. The more you make bouquets, I think. But another nice thing would be to use some binding wire or some tape in between that you can use to stick it. Yeah, thank you. So I use some water-resistant tape now to tape this bouquet. Give my hand a little rest. I can put the bouquet on the table, and that also helps. And then I go around and I tape on the same spot. And I tape where I bound the bouquet so that the binding point doesn't move. Angelica.
Reed said, I saw some florists are taping stems and then continue making the bouquet.
Yeah, exactly. That is definitely possible, especially for the bigger size. That's a good trick. A little bit of that tape and a little bit of that binding wire, the brown one, please. Thank you very much. Then I cut more or less on the same height. Awesome, thank you. That's a little bit of tape. Just want to make it a little bit tighter because I don't want want my binding point to move. So this is not decorative, right? I think this is pretty ugly. Some flower shops use rubber bands. You know, it works, it's effective, it's fast. If you are in the business of making fast commercial bouquets, nothing wrong with using rubber bands. But if you want to make something perfectly decorative and you want the binding to last and not people to take it off when they get home, then you can use something like this, the tape. I'm taking some, the bouquet can stand, it should be able, yeah. I make this, I'm hiding behind the flowers again. I make this a little bit more decorative. I take the Oasis binding wire, which has a nice rustic look, and I'm going around. It takes a little bit more time, but you know, sometimes the customer appreciates this type of gesture, that you want to have it perfect as possible, and then bind it off, and it's all well and hidden, so you don't see any of the tape ugliness. So that's that bouquet. So this is how you achieve this style of the whole playfulness and the openness in this bouquet. I think that's a nice colorful design. Thank you very much. If you could place this on water, please. Oh, sorry, there's a question before I put it away.
Yes, Angela asked the cost size and how large in diameter is it, and is this a classed high-end bouquet?
I think for this size and variety of materials, you would say this is a high-end bouquet. You always try to make a bouquet that's as big as possible for as little as possible. So try to use the maximum length of the stem. This gives you a bigger size for a smaller budget. If a customer who doesn't know anything about floristry, they just look at the size of the bouquet and the color and they think, is it big? Then it's worth more. So if you make a small bouquet with a lot of materials, then the customer will not understand why it's priced so high. Of course, there's different types of customers. I'm really generalizing here. Some customers, they appreciate art more and they will look more into the design, but a lot of the customers, they will just see size and they will relate the price to that.
Wait, before you give it away, can it stand?
I think this question came later than I already showed that it could stand, but yes, it can stand for sure. So hopefully I passed the exam. Thank you. This next design, oh no, I forgot to put in the peonies. The beautiful peonies. Oh my God. If anyone wants to see the bouquet with the peonies inside, that will have to be on Facebook. So that gives you a reason to check out Facebook later with the peonies inside. Next arrangement I'm making, a frame structure I have over here. Walking outside the shot, sorry. This is a piece of wood that we got from one of our students, Nelly Blok. Thank you very much. And I have created these legs underneath. It's the same type of technique that I've shown last time during the demo. It's a thick wire and then it's a spider web underneath. And this is what we say kind of like the Gregor spider. But Gregor says it comes from someone else. It comes from Thor Gunderson, I believe. Thank you, Thor. This piece of wood, I thought it was interesting looking. So I elevated it a little bit to give it a bit more stature. And then Angelica's laughing for some reason. Did I say something wrong?
No, it's the comment.
Okay, it's not because I'm talking about wood. Okay, so and then I drilled holes in here. Now it is about wood. So I drilled some holes in here. The thickness of the holes are 1.8 or something. I bought these little drill bits and then it's very easy to stick these pieces of metal in, and I put some glue on there and then I wired the tubes and then I wired them on there. Angelica.
Yes, so why I was laughing is because Reed says, looks like chicken.
Yeah.
But
so
nice.
Actually, should I even talk about this? No, you don't want me to talk about it? All right, well, so at first it only had 2 legs. Yeah? I'm not gonna say anything more than this. So I put a 3rd leg on there. So it was even weirder before. But I thought it was interesting looking anyway. So I want to make a parallel arrangement in here. That's why I put all these tubes on long wires that will support the flowers that are going in there. So for example, this liatris in here, if I wouldn't have these wires in there, it would just fall out of place a little bit. But now it supports itself against the wire. Then I have some ripsalis in there to have some movement that's going downwards, some contrasting movement. And there's a leaf inside here from, I think, alocasia with this. That will give it some calm. Then what I wanted to use for this arrangement was all the leftovers I would have. So all the previous flowers that I've named, I'm going to use in this design. There will be scabiosa in there will be limonium in there will be anigosanthus in there. And again, I'm thinking about height and the size of the flowers. If a stem is thin, I will use it longer. If a stem is more compact, I will use it lower in the design. So making a completely different arrangement using the same materials. I don't want them to be too much of the same height. And then 2 over here, 1 is coming back over there. And the size of the flowers can't be too big either, because otherwise they will take over the whole design.
Question from Reed. Can you zoom this chicken, please? I want to see how you connected the wires.
Okay, I'll bring it to the front. So I drilled the hole inside there. Is this my finger? Yeah. I drilled the hole and then I stuck in the wires. I didn't even need to use glue because the hole was the same size as the wires. You know, I didn't even see this piece of wood in that way until my mother said it. So, yeah, it's dirty minds, huh? It's dirty minds.
Angela says 358. Lol.
Basically, yeah, 358. That's correct. At least that's what I intended. So that's really a general design rule that comes back in a lot of things. And I want to have that color come back. And also with the placement of the tubes, I thought about that 358 idea. So it's like heavy here, and then it's a little bit lighter over here.
Question from Frida. Are the wires fixed to the outside of the tubes?
The tubes are wired to the wire by Oasis binding wire. So that means I just have 2 connecting points and it needs it, otherwise the tubes will go all over the place. That's just like that. A little bit of glue. If you are uncertain, then you can always make it a bit more sturdy. But you don't want to see the glue, so be careful with overdoing it. Just a little dot is enough.
Question from Amy. When we fix the tubes, is it better we always fix it on 2 points?
Yeah, I actually, in some cases, it's possible to do it just with one binding, but that is like a play of balance. If you want to be sure that everything is well, I recommend to just bind it on 2 spots. You're always safe. It takes a little longer, but you're always sure that it's gonna stand as you want it. You should be in control of the design, so don't want to have too many flowers in one tube, especially because these tubes are so small. So that's something I have to consider too. I have to consider how much it drinks. I have to consider how often someone would have to give water to these. But in a restaurant, maybe it would be possible to have this somewhere or at an entrance, and then the people would have to water it every day with a tube filler. It is a lot of work, but then they have something interesting on their table. And I really like making these type of structures, incorporating something natural and beautiful. If you find a little something like this beautiful piece of wood, you just have to add a little bit of elements to it and it's already, you know, just by itself it's a beautiful piece of wood, but adding the flowers makes it even better. Some astilbe. Oh, we have a lot more astilbe actually. Let's create something heavy. Yeah. Angelica.
Any maximum of numbers of stems in one tube?
I would try to do it as less as possible, but an actual number, it's difficult to say. It depends on the size of the tube. In this case, these tubes are so small, I would try to stick it with 1. I don't want to have more than 1. But anything that's bigger, yeah, then it could have had 2. But I just want to be certain that none of my flowers will end up dying. When I create this design, I also want to think of the backside. So now we have a leaf over here that's a little bit hidden from the view from the front. But if you look at it from the side, it's still interesting. When you create a design, try to make it approachable from all sides. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having the classes open again. Actually, for our Dutch students, are any of our Dutch students watching? Yeah, Selena was watching. So we are looking at trying to reopen again. We are closely following what the government is telling us. And the government in the Netherlands is actually starting to open up the elementary schools again. And then they will open up the high schools. So I hope that means that soon we can also start doing something. We are already preparing our classrooms to be able to have classes. We're really working on it. And I want to bring some lightness back into it. But I don't want to space them too evenly, because then it becomes more classical. And my idea of this design is that it is a little bit more modern.
M. Dekker says yes, Mathilde too.
Hey.
And Pamela Huygen is also watching.
Hey, nice. Fun, guys. Thank you for watching. This is the situation of a tube that's too thick, a stem that's too thick for these tubes. So let's not put that in there. That would not be good. It would suck too much water. But I do want another color in there. Maybe I'll just add a little bit more green.
M. Dekker says, we can't wait. I miss the lessons.
Yeah, me too. It's really quiet in here. And we just have, you know, we work very well together. We have each other here, but it's so different. Maybe some height in here too. And of course, I don't want to have any empty tubes in here either. So that's something I'm paying attention to. By the way, I've asked this before on Facebook posts, but we didn't, or in our description of the videos. But if you have any subject that you would like us to make for a next video, like a design style or whatever, please let us know, because then we'll try to adhere to that for the next live stream, which could be next week or the week after. We don't know, but it's all possible. And then I think for this design, I just need a little weight down here and then it's more or less finished.
Pamela says, and she enjoys the special lesson, but she wants to see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. That would be really good. Also, it would be nice, you know, if we could all just return to our work. And I can imagine you miss the botanical garden.
Amy has a very good one. It's a good design for using leftover materials. Very useful and environmental.
Very true, yeah, you can reuse it a lot of time. Okay, I'm gonna put a strong color in there, so to pull the attention and also to brighten it up a little bit. So this Ripsalis won't need so much water, so it can have a friend.
Reed says she already has an idea for the next live stream.
Oh.
Something very special, a bridal bouquet.
Ah, bridal bouquet, why not? That's a really good idea. I was actually considering that, but I don't know what made me change my mind. But yeah, why not? Let's do a bridal bouquet next time. Probably it will be my mother next time. She could do something really cool, and otherwise I'll make the bridal bouquet the next time. Yeah, let's make this one. This is an interesting movement, right? So let's massage it a little bit, hope it doesn't break. But if we do it with care, it should be fine. And love, yes, care and love. It's always during demonstrations that we do that, huh? Then it comes back a little bit over there, and then I think this design is more or less done. So again, it's a little bit dark. Contrast is high because of the light. I think I'll have to figure that out a little bit more. But on the pictures that we will post later, I hope you can see it very clearly. Angelica.
Angela says idea a sphere bouquet or a Dutch hedge.
A Dutch hedge? Would that be a Dutch garden, but just the green? I don't know. A spherical bouquet. That's a possibility for sure. Any other suggestions?
Reed says thank you, and why not for men a bridal bouquet?
Yes, that's a really good one. We can think of something cool with that too. That's a good one. Thank you. Great ideas, guys. Great ideas. So that's it for this design. On the pictures you will be able to see it well. I hope you enjoyed it. That's, I think, all I have to show you also for today. So thank you again, everyone, for coming and watching. And
well, the ideas are coming now. Of course,
the ideas. I'm here for your ideas.
So Margaret Lynn says headpiece flower arrangement.
Ooh, headpiece. Yes, Angelica as a model. I can see that. I can see it working. Or Amo, why not? You can also be model.
Berry van Boven, are the other teachers also going to give a live stream?
Ooh, that would be a fun idea, wouldn't it? Maybe we can ask if Nikki wants to come over. We could. Or Karel. Of course, why not? That's a good idea. Thank you. Definitely, I think those are good ideas. I would love to see that. I actually have some cool ideas that I'm not going to spoil yet because I have to talk to some people. But I got some other ideas that I think would be nice to do.
Reed says, cool, very nice. Dancing chicken, very pretty.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, okay, I was gonna say rock out and then no, I changed my mind. I'm not gonna say that. Then I think that's it for today. I will check the comment section, of course, later on. If you have any more ideas, please just write them down in the comments here. Not necessarily in the live chat, but you can also write them down in the comments of the video. Maybe some people are checking in later. Feel free to comment. If you haven't done yet, please give us a subscribe and then a like, of course, that would be nice. Yeah. But an important thing I've heard and I've noticed that if you are subscribed, then YouTube doesn't necessarily give you a reminder when our stuff is coming online again. So there's a little bell symbol down there. It's called the bell button. If you hit that bell button, YouTube will remind you whenever we go live again. So if it's not next week, might be the week after, then you will know. Of course, we will try to keep you updated as much as possible. I don't know why I have this in my hand, but again, thank you very much everyone for watching. Then maybe we all just gonna wave you goodbye now again. So if you guys would come over here. But thank you again, everyone. We like doing this. It keeps us motivated too. And I hope it keeps you motivated and inspired to work on things.
Bye
there
bye.
We are. And that's Omo, by the way.
Nice weekend.
All right. Have a nice weekend,
next
everyone.
time.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. We're walking off again.